Hello everybody and welcome to a new YouTube video. It's Danny, also known as I Annihilate, twitch.tv/I Annihilate by the way. Come join in the stream if you want to have a good time and watch some mid plays normally, but today I'll be going over the best carries in 7.36b. I have had a really good time in this patch. I'm enjoying it a lot. I love the fastest. I think they add a lot to the game without like changing too much, if that makes sense. Like it just feels fun. Like it feels fresh. I know a lot of people feel the same way. There are some people that just don't like change, and that's life. But one thing I will tell you right away that I don't like in the game of Dota 2 is playing against Chaos Knight. I think Chaos Knight is by far the best carry in all of Dota. All these other heroes pale in comparison to the might of the Chaos Knight. Okay? We are going to start right away on this list with Chaos Knight, Mr. Chaos himself. But quickly, I just want to mention, I think the 5 best heroes right now are Chaos Knight, Ursa, Templar, Lifestealer, and Weaver. Not necessarily in any order. They serve different purposes. Carry doesn't always get last pick. I would say that like Chaos Knight and Ursa are like S+ tier. You can pick them in any game. Weaver as well, but it normally gets picked as a support, like before you get a chance to pick it. Weaver is just completely busted in all of Dota. And then in the honorable mention section, Tiny is the most picked, but I don't really see him. I'm not like ever that scared of a Tiny. Maybe just because I'm used to playing it against it so much. Its win rate isn't the greatest. It just seems like a standard carry you can pick in every game that just isn't Chaos Knight or Ursa, like that isn't that powerful. Troll Warlord has his case of like it's good into Slardar type lanes. If some of these other heroes aren't available, he can be pretty good. It's good at catching a lot of the mid heroes right now. I've even seen some Glipnir trolls to like Glipnir into guaranteeing a route from like the ensnare on their Q. Wraith King, he did receive a few nerfs. He was definitely busted at the beginning of the patch. The B patch has definitely toned him down quite a bit. Still okay, but again, these heroes at the top are much better. TA might be interchangeable with Tiny a bit too. I feel like TA's fallen off a little bit for me, but I think the hero is still quite strong. I think it's like definitely a tier above the other ones. And then lastly, or not lastly, actually, Monkey King. Monkey King's another interesting one. I'll try to cover the honorable mentions a little bit at the end of the video later. I don't think Monkey King's bad, but I don't really think that he fits the meta all too well a lot of the time, and it's very easy for a lot of the spirits to kind of run at him right now. Juggernaut is kind of the same thing. Like I think the hero itself actually got buffed a lot. Blade form is great. The changes to his spin are great. There's a lot of good things that are changed about Juggernaut, but a lot of his counters are just in the meta. Like you're going to play a lot of games into an Axe or a Legion Commander or a Slardar. And even then, like you don't really want to play against Ursa much, or even Chaos Knight. There's a lot of Orchids going around, so you have to go to Manta, and you'd prefer to just get other items a lot of the time. Like even SNY can be pretty good on Juggernaut. But yeah, I digress. Let's move into the top carries. Hey guys, just a friendly reminder that 77% of you aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you do want more content and want to be up to date with the latest and greatest Dota 2 content out there on the YouTubes, please subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day. Before I yap too much, Chaos Knight. The build I've been seeing on Chaos Knight, by far the best carry, I think. Again, I'll just reinstate it one more time. The build I've been seeing the most is getting the Phantasmagoria talent or facet. As read here, the Cliff Notes is if you're near illusions, they get 20% damage reduction, which is really strong. Makes his illusions really tanky. Also, they can't be killed by stuff like Mana Drain or Hex, all illusions. So, like, it used to be that for his ultimate, but now for Manta style, from the ones from the Shard when he throws his Q, Illusion Rune, any sort of illusions that come from Chaos Knight are strong illusions, and that is, like, really, really good. If for whatever reason you need a break, or like, I don't know, this is picked very like rare, like maybe about 1 out of 100 games, and it's probably not that bad, but I think that like by far this is just a super strong facet. And then on top of that, the innate ability, I've seen Chaos Knights throw like the stun, the Chaos Bolt with the Shard, spawned 2 illusions and just one-shot a support late game. It is nuts. Basically the huge buffs he got like didn't really like change much of his abilities in the recent patches, but just the facets and the innate ability are completely nuts. Orchid, very strong pickup right now. It solves his mana issues. You don't have to get Echo Saber anymore. The main buildup is Armlet, Orchid, BKB, sometimes Shadowblade, sometimes Blink, sometimes Heart. And yeah, super fun hero. Very easy to play, very strong in lane, has a good sustain. Next, we have Ursa. Both facets on Ursa are viable. I've seen Grudge Bearer more often, and there probably are some games where the bear down is a little better, like if you're just trying to win your lane really hard with Fury Swipes or just putting Fury Swipes on people longer. There are times, like I played a Centaur game today against an Ursa, so it wasn't the Ursa itself, but I didn't want to press Blade Mail while he was in Enrage because it would give him damage. It's just like weird that he just does extra damage by having Enrage up. Honestly, like both of these aren't too big of a buff. They're just pretty nice. The biggest buff to Ursa in the latest patches is his innate ability. 1.5% health as damage is not a lot, but I loaded into a game as Ursa. I had 12 extra damage level 1. That is really good. I think at 20 minutes, it wasn't that high. I think it was only like 20 damage by then or something, maybe. I don't remember exactly. I just had Battle Fury phase boots, so I didn't have that much extra HP. But you, instead of hitting for 48 plus whatever Fury Swipes is for last hit, so you would hit for like 61. On denies, you hit for 60, and then on creep kills, you hit for 73 level 1 with Fury Swipes. Or if you, like, in some games, you just get Earth Shock to secure range or for like First Blood or whatever, but that alone helps him so much in the laning phase. And the hero's just been pretty strong even before that. A big common theme in this 7.36 patch is heroes that were already kind of good and got buffed are great now. Heroes that kind of remained the same feel weaker relatively because a lot of heroes just got buffed. Lifestealer, or sorry, let me get into TA. TA is another one of those, right? Where like it feels almost the same as before, if not like a little weaker skill-wise. Like they nerfed the Shard, they nerfed I don't remember. I guess the refraction is just reworked. It's not really a nerf. It's honestly mostly a buff. But getting Psy Blades for free level 1 lets you get Meld level 1 every time and just have both. That's awesome. Refractor is just extra damage charges in the lane if they go on you. It makes going on TA. I played against TA mid a few times. Makes going on her kind of scary because she just trades back at you a lot faster. Like you don't really want to trade her refractions down. And they're also harder to take away just because they're shield based and you can't overkill the shield into the next instance. It's still like basically is the same, but just better. But yeah, this hero kind of self-explanatory. Oh, let me actually just rewind a minute. The build on Ursa, and it's been like this forever now, has mostly been Battle Fury, Blink, Basher, BKB. Sometimes you trade out the Basher into BKB. You know, you build into Abyssal later. Sometimes you need Monkey King Bar. Sometimes you get Octarine Core for uptime on your Shard and your ult. And like pretty much plays the same as before. Same thing with TA. Pretty much plays the same as before. Dragonlance, Deso, Blink, Shard, BKB if you really need it. Daedalus. Sometimes you can go into a Hex or a Bloodthorn later on. A Nullifier, Agility Blink. Basically the same as it was before, just better. Better in the early game. You can honestly get 2 to 3 points in Meld in lane now and not feel too far behind because of that free point in Psy Blades that I mentioned earlier. Moving on to Lifestealer. This hero's item builds are also pretty much the same. But I'll cover the facets first. Don't get Unfettered. Unfettered is probably one of the worst facets ever in the game. I watched one person try this, and they did it against Bane, and it didn't matter. He just died in grip anyway, even with being able to use it during grip. Corpse Eater is great. I've seen Lifestealers with like 1,000 extra HP by the end of the game, which is a lot of creep kills, but it just adds up. They did nerf his base strength or base damage or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. Maybe if I could go to the changes here. Yeah, at the beginning of the patch, they nerfed his base attack speed and base damage and agility gain, but they gave him Feast for free, and they gave him a new ability. Honestly, you had to buy this before with the Shard, and now you just kind of get it for free, which is nice. It does feel a little different. I have played it once or twice. Overall, the same playstyle and build, but you do feel a little weaker in the early game sometimes. You do feel stronger in a lane duo because open wounds is amazing in lane. Like a 50% slow that tapers off after 7 seconds is great. It's a lot better than having to hit them to slow them. Also, the lifesteal's no joke. And it can help set up stuff like Cold Feet on an AA. That's like the classic 2005 combo. But yeah, basically the same. Armlet Radiance or just Radiance. S&Y or Manta if they have some silences. Getting an Aghanim Scepter, maybe a Basher. Pretty much the same. Moving on to the last hero on the top 5 list, we have Weaver. So Weaver, I see this hero in every game, picked or banned. 1, 2, well, not 2. 2 is usually last pick, and this hero is just picked or banned by then. But like 1 or 3 if it's core, or 4 or 5. Amazing. Skitter Step feels great, and it's just another one of those heroes that you get Gemini Attack level 1 for free. I know it's not necessarily a full level 1 spell, but this is probably one of the like level 0.5 spells that feels like a first level spell. You don't get the bonus damage, like 5 really isn't that much, but you still get to have a double hit. Even if the cooldown's long, it doesn't really matter. It's still like basically a crit, right? And at level 3, having 1 and basically, or at level 2, you have Sakuchi, Swarm, and the double hit. This hero is like unplayable to lane against. It is probably one of the most oppressive laners. It still scales pretty well. You end up getting like Gemini attack damage, Gemini attack +1 at 25. Your shard also, like when you go through somebody, it does damage. You hit somebody 5 times. There's a clip on Reddit like a few patches ago. I don't remember if it was Tomato or someone else playing Weaver, but he like Sakuchi'd on top of somebody at like 50 minutes and just triple crit them with the shard and the talent. And yeah, I've seen Glipnir the most on this hero. I've seen some Dragon Lance Glipnir. You definitely want to get to a Satanic at some point, sometimes BKB. I've seen a bunch of builds. I've also seen the supports do pretty much the same build, although they'll go like Vessel Glipnir into Orchid or something, or Lincoln's. But for the most part, when you're playing as carry, I would say standard build. I wouldn't go for a Deso as much anymore. You still can. It's not off the cards. I just think it's so much easier to farm with Glipnir and Maelstrom. Also gives you a little bit of catch, gives you a TP cancel, Satanic Daedalus. That's pretty much it. Maybe fit a BKB in there. And yeah, that does it for like the top 5 best carries. As far as these honorable mentions, I'm going to mention why I think they're good and why I don't think they're as good as the other ones. I already talked about it a little bit. I think Tiny has been the most picked carry since the new changes like to the game since 7.36. I also think he's received a few nerfs in the A and B patch, which have kind of added up. Still feels great. I just think that it's pretty hard. Like, it's fine against Chaos Knight, but it feels pretty hard sometimes against Ursa, even TA or Lifestealer. It feels really hard against Weaver. Like, yeah, you can burst her, but you can't really deal with the bugs. You kind of just attack too slow. The build is Treads, Echo Saber, Shard, S&Y, Shadowblade, sometimes Shadowblade before S&Y. And you're more of the physical burst Tiny. You're not really going like for Conda or Blink or Aghanims or anything like that. Or the Crash Landing, you're going to get Insurmountable. And the hero just feels very like solid, but not ever like the star of the game, really, from my perspective. Same thing with Troll Warlord. I've won plenty of games with this hero on my team. I've lost to it. I never feel like Troll is the hero that, oh, if we let this guy farm too much, we're going to lose. Like, it doesn't feel like a really big CK or a really big life stealer, something that'll like just have inevitability. It just feels like this hero will win its lane really hard and then snowball that throughout the game. Or it just like makes the other heroes on your team stronger. So like if I'm doing really well mid or off lane, Troll Warlord can close out the game for us by taking objectives. Like, he pushes towers really fast, he takes Roche pretty fast, and he kind of secures the game in a sense, because usually he beats up their off laner pretty bad. There are some matchups that can be pretty nasty for Troll that you have to watch out for. And there are a lot of Orchids. And like silences are a nightmare for Troll for the most part. Wraith King still feels pretty good. Most people were just doing... I think they were still just doing Armlet Radiance as well with Blink and AC or BKB or Bloodthorn. Spectral Blade is still nuts. It's kind of like a free Conda. It does have the like delayed effect on your attack. This farm's almost as fast as like the Skeletons used to when I was trying it. It feels really, really good. I loved playing it. But again, I think he was by far one of the best heroes at the start of the patch. He just got toned down a bit, and now his power level is more like balanced to really good and not just unbeatably good. Same thing like in the offlane video and for like the offlane tips guide. Axe and Sand King in the A patch where like you pick these heroes or you lose. Now Sand King is like fallen off the face of the earth from the nerfs, and Axe is still in every game, but it doesn't feel like you just instantly lose. He just feels good to play and doesn't just 1v9 every game. Monkey King is pretty interesting. I haven't seen many Battle Fury Monkey Kings. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen people take both these facets. I think the Wukong's Faithful is by far the better one. Being able to like move in and out of your ring for 3 seconds is a huge deal. Sometimes you get pushed out of it by whatever displacement. You get swapped out of it. You can still jump over to it if you get in time. The whole hero is based around the ult in the mid to late game. Like, it's a very powerful ult. Even just like using it and then stunning somebody in it for getting like a few swings off is enough to like kill a core a lot of the time. And getting your ultimate griefed really sucks. Simeon Stride did get a big buff, and I've seen some people do well with this in the mid lane. And when I carry takes it, I don't know. I don't really feel the impact. I'd have to try it myself a bit more to really get a feel for it. But this hero also just kind of like Troll, but worse at pushing buildings until Ags. Like, it's okay at countering some of the meta offlaners, but doesn't really have the best carry matchups. And really have to control the early game to win on this hero, I think. Very early game locked. Also, you didn't really get a free spell necessarily. Like, you already had Mischief. So, kind of very similar to how he was before. Juggernaut received a lot of buffs, and I like this hero a lot. Bladestorm I thought was going to be better than it is. I've tried both. I think Blade Form is by far better. I think it's like, it feels really hard to play against this hero sometimes. Like, you want to grip him during his spin, and then the spin ends and the grip's gone. Or you roar him while he's spinning, the spin ends and he's gone. It feels a lot easier to do your spin into Omni Slash and get your spells off, which is exactly what he needed. But again, like, you're going to play against a sea of Axes and Legion Commanders and Ursas and TAs and all these counters to you. Weaver's even really annoying for you. You can't really get your sword on these heroes that often. Lifestealer doesn't feel too bad to play against, but now you have to build a Monkey King bar. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the list. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know you guys' thoughts on what carries you guys are enjoying. I know in the other videos that I've made for offlane and mid, there's people that are mentioning, oh, what about this here? What about that here? I'm willing to answer any comments or questions you guys have, and I'm also open to new ideas. Like, maybe there's a carry hero you guys think I missed. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a good day and have some good pubs on the current patch. Loving this patch. Bye-bye.